Hi everyone, it's Alexis with Project Management Made Simple. In this video, I'm going to be walking you all through the top 5 things I've learned in my 10 years as a project manager. So the first one is that the role of a project manager is flexible. Over the years, as Agile has evolved into a lot of our environments, we have seen the role of the project manager shift. And in some instances, we've seen that formal role go away entirely because the idea in an Agile environment is that the duties and responsibilities of a project manager are to be distributed amongst that team. So in using my current role as an example, my title is Senior Project Manager. However, I wear multiple hats. There have been times where I've been a traditional project manager, where I've been a ScrumMaster, where I've been an Agile coach, as well as a program manager. And so what it means to be a project manager can be different organization to organization, but also within the organization itself, depending on the scenario, you may have to wear different hats of what it means to be a project manager. Point number 2 is that project managers are expectations managers, especially when we're in those environments where we are a traditional project manager, where we're talking with the clients and setting their expectations. We are going to be talking about things like schedule, scope, budget, and quality. And we're going to have a plan that is going to list out how we're going to achieve all these targets. And as we go throughout the life cycle of the project, that's when we will monitor as well as make adjustments. And ultimately, what we are doing is we are managing the client's expectations around those project constraints. Point number 3 is learning how to speak to things when they go off course. Notice I said when. I have never seen a project that from the very onset of that project, everything goes as expected. And that's regardless of if we are using traditional waterfall, or we're planning everything up front, or we are within an Agile environment where we know that change is going to happen. In either one of these scenarios, things are going to change and things may not go to your original plan. And so as a project manager, you are going to have to build that muscle where you can learn how to speak to things going off plan. And the way that this is done is by having your plan, ensuring that's communicated. Something I also like to do is also make explicit any assumptions. Assumptions are risks that have not been realized at that point. And so anytime we have an assumption to get us to a certain timeline, to get us to a certain budget around the scope, I like to make that transparent to my customer because I want them to be privy to this and I want to avoid any potential surprises. Now, what should be happening if something goes off track, there should be smoke signals along the way. So there should be risks and issues that have been highlighted, and those should have been discussed so that if you are finding that something is going off track, then it's hopefully no surprise to your customer at that point. Point number 4 is that projects equal change, and change is hard. Change is hard because, as we know, as human beings, we like to remain and do what we are used to doing, even if what we're used to doing may not be the most effective or efficient way of doing something. If it is known to us, if we are comfortable with it, we are apt to choosing that option. Projects, as defined by the Project Management Institute, are unique and they are temporary in nature. But ultimately, what is created as an outcome of that project is going to have an impact on various stakeholders. And so it is important as a project manager to keep in mind how this project is going to impact different stakeholders. As we are building something, we want to keep in and we want to include those voices. And then as we are actually finishing out the project, we want to have an understanding of now, how do we support those who are going to be impacted by the outcome of this project? And finally, number 5 is to remember the big picture. As a project manager, and even before I knew this role even existed, I'm the type of person who is detail oriented. And so, with that, I have found that sometimes I've gotten hung up too much on the details or drilled down into the details so much that the customer is kind of looking at me like, what? What are you even talking about? So, it's important to, yes, have the details so that you can have a plan, so that you can monitor things for what they are and make those adjustments. But it's also just as important to know when to step out and to see the bigger picture and how things are being affected there as well. This was a video where I listed to you all the 5 things that I've learned in my 10 years as a project manager. There certainly are several more things, and I seek to share those amongst other videos, but I just wanted to list out these top 5 as they've come to mind, and I hit that milestone in July of being a PM for 10 years. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave those below, and I will talk to you all in my next one.